Don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. Something I heard a couple of people say in my life. One particular person repeats it like over and over again. I'm not going to mention any names. She might be on the podcast today. I'm not sure. Don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. I'm not even going to explain it. If you can't figure it out, you don't need to know. It took me years to figure that shit out. I'm just now figuring that shit out. Don't throw the baby out with the bathwater.
I'm taking applications right now. I need more haters. What the fuck is going on? You amazing motherfuckers. And we are in a China shop back again. You want to advertise for something? www.advertisemyshit.ChinaShop.com. What the fuck is the link? Stop taking fucking pictures of the pup. We're gonna be hosted by yours truly, High Lonely Time. No.
Yo, you fucks. Episode 50, the Bull-NA-ChinaShop podcast, the first and only podcast dedicated to bull breeds and the American bully lifestyle. Now, episode 50 is kind of a big fucking deal. A little bit of a milestone, 5-0, half a century. I had to bring in the big guns for episode 50. I had to get some reinforcements in here. I had to call back up. This week, we're going to be talking to a former guest and friend of the podcast and someone who tends to repeat, don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. Jamie Sweet, creator of the Shorty Bulls, the whole Shorty Bull movement. You know who she is. If you listen to the show, you know who she is. If you don't, if you haven't listened to the show, welcome Jamie Sweet.
Thank you.
Look, she got all quiet. As soon as the microphone comes on, now she's quiet.
It won't last.
Never in her life has she been quiet until the microphone gets turned on.
It's that little light blinking.
The light blinking means that they can hear us.
Okay,
so now everybody that listens on a regular basis knows every 10 episodes on the 10s, I always do a questions from the listeners. This week we're not going to do questions from the listeners, even though I got a stockpile of fucking questions. Trust me, I'll get to them. This week we're going to do questions from Jamie Sweet. So basically questions that have come up in conversations her and I've had in the past, or some shit that she comes off with the top of her head, some stuff she wanted to ask me she didn't get to ask me, or some things that, you know, have come up before that we've had good discussions on. We're going to kind of dig into just some reminiscing. I feel like we're just going to basically talk about shit that we've done together. I feel like I've seen a couple of the questions, which I really don't even want to make it too super formal. So let's start with question 1. And then, before we do that, if you hear dog noises, we are dog people, okay? We are in an environment that has puppies, whelping mothers, other adult dogs. You're going to hear some dog noises. Shut the fuck up about it, okay? If you don't like dogs, turn it off. I don't care, okay? Second thing. If you haven't been on my YouTube channel yet, go to Bull-NA-ChinaShop TV on YouTube. The videos, new video every Monday, new video every Friday. Podcast comes out every Wednesday. So Monday, Wednesday, Friday, what do you have better to do than spend 15, 20 minutes chilling with old dad on Bull-NA-ChinaShop TV? She hates it when I say old dad.
old dad. I love it. Old dad. Dad always said.
Anyway, dog noises, get over the shit. YouTube channel, get to the shit. Okay? That's all I have. Basically, we're just going to get right into question number 1, and then we're going to reminisce about old shit We're gonna make this
We
like a
have a lot to
4-hour
reminisce
podcast. We're gonna be here till midnight. Doesn't fucking matter. I got battery power.
Let's go.
Well, we're you go right ahead.
I kind of feel like we're on a little road trip. You know, the way we're sitting here, like that's what we used to do all the time.
Yeah, basically.
Car.
I think
20-hour
next
drive to somewhere.
I think next time we do have a road trip, we might as well. Let me scoot my chair up here, people. Hang on. Can't hear me. I know my voice doesn't carry well. Shut up. I think next time we do go on a road trip, we take the microphone in the car on the road trip.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where we've had some, all joking aside, we've had some really productive conversations driving down the highway.
Mm-hmm. We have. That's always a good place to,
For
talk
some
about
reason.
all those things you never want to talk about. You're trapped in a car going 85 miles an hour.
Yeah, for some reason, risking our lives with
Right.
other drivers brings the conversation up.
Right. And I want to say this right now. You're the only one who isn't scared of my driving.
I have no issue with your driving.
Yeah, you're the only one.
I have no issue. Like, it doesn't scare me at all. Doesn't scare me a bit. Look at.
Right, we're still here.
Even if we hit the rumble strips, those are there just to let you know that you're getting close.
Right.
Yeah, a little too close to the edge,
If they're not very loud, you know you're out of Kansas.
Seriously, Kansas has divots in the road.
Yeah, you could fall off in the rumble strip.
In the rumble strips.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, episode 50, Bull-NA-ChinaShop podcast. Hanging out with Jamie Sweet. It's what was the last episode we did? 13.
Mm-hmm.
Episode 12 or 13. Been a minute.
Mm-hmm. Let's talk about how we met. Do you remember?
I think the first time we actually talked to each other was an argument.
Yes, it was.
An argument on Debatable.
Mm-hmm.
Shout out to everybody on Debatable. Kings of Debatable. You know who you fucks are. I'm pretty positive we got in an argument about... I can't remember what the first argument was about, but the second time, like when we actually kind of vibed up a little bit, we were basically telling people...
We were like the only two.
Fact.
That agreed.
Fact. There was
so we had a head bump, and then next time...
Both
it was
on Debatable.
Yeah, it was just you and I.
Right. But we were like against everybody. And it was a post about as a stud owner, as someone sending semen out, what's your responsibility?
Right.
We both agreed that if you
Pop.
we've got an 8-week-old in here that's just rambunctious as fuck. We tried to do it as late as possible, but they're still up causing ruckus. But we both agreed that if as the stud owner, if you provide a viable semen sample, that is where your responsibility ends. If you buy a stud from me, you buy semen from me, we all have contracts and shit, but really at the end of the day, what I'm responsible for is providing you a live, viable semen sample. After that, once your vet has control of that semen sample, my responsibility's over. My responsibility's done. I don't control what your vet uses to breed that bitch. I don't control how many eggs she drops. I don't control whether she takes or what the sex is or how many she has or what color they are.
Yeah, if I send you 1 million and they're all swimming, when they get there, you should be able to do something with that.
Yeah, well, I fucking hope so. It only takes one.
Yeah. So then our conversation was, what do you guarantee with a litter and all that, and we agreed that you probably need to have a few litters and ship some semen and be experienced and
That's the most interesting part about Debatable. The majority of people on Debatable having debates have no fucking business even voicing their opinion. And it sounds harsh, but In any other community, in any other field of expertise, if you were a fucking doctor and they had a debate a doctor forum, those doctors would not pay attention to anything you had to say unless you had a fucking resume to show. So why is someone why do I get upset? This is why I stopped arguing with people on Debatable. Why do I get upset when I know that person's not educated in the first place? They're talking about shit they don't know, regurgitating information they heard from someone else and saying it like it's their own knowledge. It's not the case.
Right.
But anyway, Debatable, I actually created basically the relationship between Jamie Sweet and Ty Lumley. So shout out to Debatable. No, I mean,
Yeah,
but
that's how we met.
I think that was the first time. Yeah, it was the first. I think we even messaged each other after that. Like, what are these people? Where did they come from? What world do you come from where someone guarantees you 4 puppies? What in the world? Even 3 puppies. To me, honestly, a singleton, it's not called a litter, it's called a singleton. Anything over a singleton, 2, that's not a pair, that's a fucking litter. They call it a litter.
Yeah, and if, if this is your first time raising puppies and you let them catch a draft, that's on you. So.
1,000%.
I can't guarantee you that it's going to go perfect.
Oh, especially after birth. Like, if you expect a stud owner to have any kind of responsibility after puppies are born, you're fucking drunk. You are drinking. Day drinking. You are drunk during the day. I mean, that's ludicrous. That's ridiculous. But anyway, so thank you, ignorant people, for introducing me to Jamie Sweet. But that's not the first time we met in person.
No, we met at the show.
Pat Volpe's Wisconsin show.
Yeah.
And
I
was
brought
there.
15 dogs.
I was there with Huckleberry.
That's right.
With
yeah.
Jason Gregg's dog, Huckleberry. Yeah. And you had Psychus, Rampage, Freak, City, everybody.
Yeah.
And our mutual friend, Dion, Mr. Nayez, it said, I was talking to Dion, and I said, hey, is that Jamie Sweet with the Shorty Bulls? He's like, wait, you don't know who Jamie Sweet is? And I'm like, well, I fucking know who she is. I've never met her. And he's like, come on, man. Come over here. Come on, man.
Oh my God, that's what he did.
And then he just walked up and was like, Jamie Sweet, I'd like you to meet Ty Lumley.
That's how we did. We had a Shorty parade.
Yeah.
Middle of the show.
Right in the middle of me trying to win $1,000.
Yeah, we stopped that up.
Whole show stops because there's 15 Shorty Bulls in the ring at the same time. In the other ring that doesn't even have a show going on.
Yeah, that was crazy.
But it was it made a big impact on me, obviously. I mean, it was the first time I seen Shorty Bulls. I love Psychus still to this day, even though, he's not ideal, not what you want for a finished product, but for me, Rampage and Psychus were like, holy fuck, man.
Yeah, those two were so
Rampage is a real dog. That's a real deal dog.
Yeah, he's going to be 9. Or he is 9. Going to be 10, I think.
I think he was 9 when I moved here.
Was he 9?
I'm pretty sure it's
I
like...
don't know, like after my dogs get 4, I mean, they're not changing anymore. So I kind of just quit counting, Kind of like I'm still 29.
So stuff goes from...
No, but we did
4
figure it up the
to
other day.
10.
We did, and I think he's 9. But he's
You wouldn't be able to tell by
there.
looking at him.
He's up there because Goldberg's 7 or 8. And I think Goat's 6 or 7. Was Goat just 7?
Goat is 7 years old?
He's 6 or 7, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Clutch is 4. Right? Yeah, I got... Okay, we'll get into that too. I got...
Yeah, because Jaden City and everybody, they're 7.
7.
Yes.
And I picked Clutch up St. Louis show after the Wisconsin show. Like 6 months later, probably. I don't even know if he was born when we met yet.
No, he wasn't. Yeah, and because you like Psychus so much.
Right. Yeah, I'm telling you, when I seen Psychus, because Psychus is like a overdone motherfucker, you know? And me personally,
Yeah.
I tend to lean toward as far as a breeder goes, as far as my personal preference goes, I like that overdone look. I like that massive everything kind of look. Mm-hmm. And his shoulders are still to this day probably the craziest shoulders I've ever seen on a Shorty bull.
Yeah. He wasn't crazy. He was a cool dog. But yeah, you liked him, and then I bred him to that
Goat's
wonderful
mom.
breeding. Yeah, Goat and Goldberg's mother, who was a wonderful producer for me. She always did such a nice job for me. And that's
Right,
how we got
Clutch is
Clutch. Mm-hmm.
Well, I've been here 3 years.
Really?
In March, it's been 3.5 years. In March, it was 3 years I've been here.
Wow.
So it's been 3.5 years. And he was, probably 6 months when I moved here.
So
7 months.
we hit it off at the show, had a blast. And then we kept in touch, and we had litters at the same time.
Yeah, I had Blue Rose's litter.
Yes.
Red Rose and Liberty Rose.
And that was a real exciting litter for you.
Yeah, at the time, that was the best. Mm-hmm. I mean, the puppies were the craziest thing I've ever seen. It was the best litter I produced.
And then, shortly after that is when Rage died on the way to the vet pregnant.
The lucky 7.
Yeah, right after that.
Right, we were on the phone.
That's one of my stories. It was actually a miracle, And when you're reading books, you read all these things, and it says some things aren't possible, and then it happens to you, and it's a miracle, and you can't believe it, and your experience is wonderful. But that was a bittersweet moment because she was so heavy with pups, and she had about a week to go to deliver. But I mean, she was just huge, and it was hard for her to breathe. And then it became so she couldn't eat very much, so I'd have to feed her, little portions all throughout the day. And then she couldn't lay down. So I took her to the vet, and he wanted me to wait 3 more days so the puppies would be developed enough. So in those 3 days, I had to keep her upright. Do you remember that? I had to sit with her in my lap.
Yeah, I remember you telling me you had to sit
4
with her
hours
on the couch.
with her back against my chest, upright. And then prop her in pillows for 4 hours. And then put her on fluids.
She was just too big, couldn't breathe.
Yeah.
So she had just had...
It's called heavy litter syndrome.
Right, just too full of pups where her lungs couldn't function, diaphragm couldn't function properly.
Right. She couldn't even lay down. So it was miserable. So we did that for her. We made it 2.5 days. And I called the vet that day. And we decided to give her fluids. And I'd stay up with her one more night. And we were going to do this section the next day. And the pup should be okay. But by midnight that night...
I feel like right then is a critical time for the puppies too. If you pull them 2 days too early, they won't have hair. Their eyelids won't be all the way developed sometimes. Their nostrils won't all be all the way open sometimes.
Yeah, it's awful. It's so hard to watch. So at midnight that night, I was sitting with her, and I noticed she started to get a scared look in her eyes. And I just knew then that we were going to have trouble. She started to look so afraid. So I called the vet, and they said, well, come on down, let's check her. So it's probably about 12:30 at night. I leave for the vet's 20 miles, call you, so you could talk to me all the way to the vet. And I turned the corner, Beatty Corner.
Which I didn't know then where that was at.
Yeah.
I know now, obviously.
9 miles from the vet.
Right down the road.
Yeah, so.
Yeah, so we're on the phone. Jamie's on the phone, and she goes, I'm on my way to the vet. I got this bitch. I think she's going to die. And I'm like, what do you mean she's going to fucking die? Like, how? I mean, what's wrong with her? She's too big. I think she's going to die. And then, literally, we were talking about something else, and it's just like a pause. Oh, fuck, Ty, I think this bitch just died.
Oh, it was the worst sound I've ever heard in my
And
life.
I'm like, I'm on the other end of the phone like, what the fuck do you mean, you know?
Oh my gosh, it was the worst sound. I heard a sound. And, of course, I stop the car, pull over, you know, beat on her chest, blow in her mouth. She's gone. I mean, she's just gone. So, hang up from you, call the vet. I said, open the doors, we're coming. 8 miles away, my dog just died. She said, I got the doors open, come on. So, got to the vet, grabbed her up, took her in on the table. We did the section. We saved 7 of the 10 puppies.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
So it's what makes the whole thing difficult is the vet was involved the whole time. You know, the vet knew that she was probably going to be too big, probably going to have to go early, but didn't want to take the puppies too early and jeopardize all the puppies. And, you know, probably at that time you didn't feel like her life was in danger. I bet.
Right. We were thinking, you know, we just get the puppies mature and everybody would be okay, but we didn't make it like that. But we did, you know, ended up with 7 girls, 7 females. And I got home and I didn't know whether to be happy because I had 7 pups or cry because I lost our mother, that dog was a gift from Carrie, who'd been killed in the accident on the way from home from the dog show. So it was a very special dog. And then I had to tube feed 7 puppies.
Fuck.
Which was like crazy. It was.
Yeah. Oh, anybody listening that's tube fed before, you know what it's like. I mean, it's
I never
stressful. It's sleep deprivation. It's, you know, you're worried about drowning the puppies the whole fucking time. Like it's stressful to say the least.
It is, and I was so scared because there were 7 of them, you know, and they were little, and
4 days early still, even waiting that long, 4 days early.
Thank God I had an incubator. You know, the incubator too, if you don't have an incubator and you are going to breed dogs, that is one of the best things I've ever purchased for myself, was the incubator. And I was so hard-headed, like, I don't need an incubator. But since I have it, I love this thing. I can't imagine doing it without it because I can put the puppies in there. I know they're draft-free. They're safe. They're not going to be rolled on.
Yeah, you know it's dry air in there.
Yes,
they're
the
not,
temperature's going to be stable.
Right. They're not breathing moisture the whole time.
Right. No
I do
drafts.
something similar with like a homemade incubator. The incubator boxes now aren't real super expensive. So I've actually been thinking about getting one too. But I do like a homemade incubator where I take a big either cardboard box or a laundry basket or anything that's got 4 sides and it's fairly deep. Mm-hmm. I line it with like a sheet or something just to have something in between the heating pad and the bottom. I put a heating pad on one side that only covers half of it. Leave the other side just a towel over the bottom, and then a towel over the heating pad on the other side, so the puppies have somewhere to go if they get too warm.
Yes, they have to get away from the heat source.
And then I put a cover on it, but I leave one corner open so the air can get out of there. So far, it's been. I mean, it's like a game changer. Just having a dry, warm environment for puppies to go and develop. You know, especially when they don't have a mom. Like if you have a mom and you're just taking them off because you don't trust her, something like I do, like a homemade incubator box is probably going to be all you need. But if you have litter of 7, 8, 9 puppies that don't have a mom, or you know something's happened where the mom won't clean them and the mom does not producing milk, or the like situation Jamie had where the mom died, that incubator box I bet makes a world of difference.
Oh, it's wonderful. You can put the pups in there and sleep and not wake up startled. How many times do you do that?
Stress the
fall
fuck
asleep,
out.
Fall asleep by the box, wake up like, oh my God, did she roll on one? You know, did she do this?
Especially with first time moms.
Yeah.
I think a lot of
and
people.
anesthetic.
Yeah, especially coming out of a C-section too. But I think a lot of people, a lot of new people coming in, they're having their first litters. They're females having their first litters. Stressful for everybody, you know, and especially when you don't know what to expect.
Can you remember when you had your first litters?
Fuck yeah.
Oh, yeah.
The longest
it was a big
night,
deal.
The longest night of my whole life.
Huge deal. It's still a big deal, but that was like extra big. You want to do everything perfectly right. You know, it's like having your first child almost.
But when I had my first litter, it was before all this, like, hands in there kind of shit with whelping. It was like, I had a bitch that was packed full. I mean, pushing her ribs out on both sides. She had 12 puppies, all 12 of them naturally, cleaned every one of them. She was feeding shit before it came out, it seemed like, you know?
God, yeah.
Great mom. And then
That's
I had her and her sister was the exact opposite.
That's Mother Nature's trick to get you to become a breeder.
The first one goes so well.
It goes great.
That's
the trick.
Just
the
kidding.
Trap. Right there. Goes great. It's a beautiful experience. Everything is healthy and fat and good. Yeah.
Yeah, she had 12. I've never heard, still to this day, I've never heard a female, like, wail during whelping, like labor pain wailing. Never heard that. It's even after that. And I definitely hadn't heard it up to that point, but every time she'd have a contraction, she'd just howl.
Really?
Every time she had a contract, I'm like, what the fuck is going on, man? Is this normal? Like, I'm calling my vet, yo, I think something's going on. She's got a puppy stuck, or he's like, no, I mean, you know, she just started. Give her a while and see what happens. Well, it wasn't 5 minutes. Right in the middle of a howl, boom, first puppy.
Let me ask you something. How many times did you make that poor thing endure the thermometer up her butt before that first pup was born?
At least 16 times.
Poor thing.
I'm pretty sure she almost had an orgasm, actually. I put that thermometer up her ass so many times. No, I mean, but at the time, I'd never had a litter.
Right.
Everything I'm reading's telling me 3 days before the litter's due, you need to check 3 times or 4 times a day to make sure. You want to write down her temperature so you get a schedule of what her temperature is like.
I still have my notes I used to take.
I used to do all that. Like,
I used to weigh them, measure them.
The puppies when they were born?
Oh, yes. Total description.
Put a little
what time they were born.
Pink ribbon on them.
Yes,
to
if they breathed
them.
right away, if I had to cut the cord, all that jazz. It's great to look back on now and giggle about. But there's a great book if you've never whelped a litter before. It's called The Whelping and Rearing of Puppies by Muriel Lee.
The Whelping and Rearing of Puppies.
Yes, it's a very, very good book. I almost wore it out my first litter because you can look things up and it's spiral bound. So, my dog panted twice. That's on page 17. I looked that up and I called my dad for backup. Then I look it up and then tell my dad what it says. He tells me to throw the book away.
Throw in the garbage.
Yeah. Just have some pups, James. It's not that hard. Why do you make things so hard?
Hey, Mother Nature's been doing that shit for thousands of years.
He said maybe you ought to reconsider. If it's that hard, maybe you ought to not do this. I'm like, okay, thanks.
Right in the middle of your first litter. Yeah. Hey, maybe you should give it up. Oh, thank you for feeling so confident in my abilities.
My first litter was rat terriers, okay?
Yeah, that's what I was just going to ask you. What do you remember yours?
Oh, yeah, rat terriers. So, have this little dog, my little hunt dog. She's pretty attached to me. If she goes into labor, she's vicious. I mean, like, vicious. Her eyes are spinning in her head.
Motherfuckers don't know about rat terriers. They are vicious little creatures.
Yes. So, my first whelping box was a Christmas tree box. Actually, it was the box from the Christmas tree. And, I just laid the Christmas tree out of it and fixed it up for the dog.
So what, like you cut the one, it was a tall, long box.
Yeah, and this is a little rat terrier.
So you turned it over on its side, took the one side off it?
Yeah,
or you
so
just
I have
left
this
it upright?
nice little box. My Christmas tree's now just naked in the basement, and I don't even care. Because I'm having puppies in this little box. Okay? So now she's vicious.
That was your first whelping.
That was my first whelping
cardboard box.
It was. Because I was thinking it'd be sanitary and I could throw it away and get another box, I was going to have a new box every day because it was going to be so sanitary. So, she's vicious. She starts having her first puppy. It's huge, and it's a breech. And I'm like, oh my God. So, thinking it's okay. It'll just, I'll just get it out. So I reach for it and get bit. And I'm like, well, maybe I won't get it out. So.
But rat terriers are natural whelpers. I mean, usually
Right,
they don't
so
have 99% of the
now I'm
time
starting
they
to
got
panic.
no issues.
So I called my dad. I said, Dad, Hammer's having pups, head stuck. He's like, the head's not stuck. Just leave her alone. That's how pups are born. I'm like, no, it's head stuck. He's like, yeah, it's being born, Jay. Leave it alone. I'm like, no, the whole pup's out and its head stuck. He's like, just forget it. Just forget it. Just forget it. You got a rat terrier with its head stuck. Breech. I'm like, yeah. He's like, just forget it, Jay. Just quit.
Hang it up.
Yeah. He's like, if you can't raise rat terriers, yeah, what you gonna do with these other things? So anyway, we got the pups delivered.
He has a point. The man has a point. If you can't whelp rat terriers, you're up shit creek when it comes to bull breeds.
Right.
For real.
Right. So, anyway, she had her pups, and she was very vicious the entire time until she weaned them. And I did. I learned a lot from that litter. But yeah, that was a one time when, I didn't start out so good with something that should have been very easy. So a lot of this was just,
I got
learning
spoiled.
as you go. Trial and error. Learning as you go.
I got straight spoiled by Blaze. That was the bitch I had. I bought sisters. One named Blaze, the other one named Dro.
Blaze Dro.
Well, you put that in whatever context you'd like to put it in. Blaze Dro.
Mm-hmm.
But Blaze was like the ultimate mom. There's actually a photo floating around of me with a big afro holding two dogs.
I've seen that picture.
I hope that picture never goes anywhere again because it's embarrassing as fuck. I mean, to be honest with you, I'm kind of proud of it because if you look at those two dogs that I'm holding and look at the stuff that I own now or produce now, it's night and day. Like the road from there to here seems so long. Like it seems like there's such a high number of obstacles that I had to get over from there to here,
Lots of them.
But Blaze was like the ultimate mom, and her sister Dro was the exact opposite of the ultimate mom. Terrible. Just, she produced the worst looking puppies I've ever seen. I'm not kidding. This bitch was way bullier, like quote unquote bullier than her sister. Better head, more cheeky, shorter muzzle, stop was nice, bully body, heavy, thick body. Her sister that looked like a Labrador produced way better puppies than that bully bitch.
Wow.
It was like night and day. Like one of them looked terrible, was like an ultimate mom and produced great puppies. The other one looked awesome.
The ugly sister thing going on.
I'm telling you.
Yeah.
And I didn't know the ugly sister theory until I met you, obviously. But even then, I'm like, why is this ugly bitch producing nice dogs? And you could see that her sister was, there was good genetics there. Her sister was nice. I don't know. But, yeah, Blaze had 12. That was with Rain's dad. My male now, Rain.
Yeah.
9 years old. His dad, I had litters off of his dad before I had him. I bred those two females to his dad, sold all the puppies out of those two litters, and bought him. Bought Rain. So the Blaze paid for double L kennels, basically. It's fucking insane.
That's awesome.
I paid $800 for that dog.
Really?
Fact. Insane. Sold all of her puppies for $500. It was $500 a pup. No paperwork. No. APBR paperwork.
Oh my God.
The American Pit Bull Registry paperwork. You could get papers on any dog. You could have sent them to Dachshunds, and they would have give you papers on the whole litter of bulldogs, pit bulls.
Did you ever do anything with CKC?
The Continental Kennel Club or
Yes,
the Canadian Kennel Club?
No, the Continental.
Yeah, CKC. Fact, that's APBR CKC. That was my whole
You needed
shit.
2 witnesses.
The first 2 litters.
It could be some guy off the street.
Just random signatures is what they wanted.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's crazy to think about now. Like, I mean, I hate talking about this shit. It sounds like I'm patting myself on the back, but to think about Maestro, like how amazing of an animal he is, I created.
Mm-hmm.
From like to think about that now, but the dogs that I had then, it's like I basically had to sell my whole yard, 3/4 of my yard, 2 different times, just because I wasn't even getting close to where I wanted to be.
But that's a good thing that you did that. You know, because, I mean, sometimes just stopping and starting over is a lot better.
Saves you years sometimes.
Yeah. Or getting slowly nickel and dimed to fix everything. And some things, you just don't have enough life to fix that. It's hard.
If there's that much to quote unquote fix, just fucking scratch it, man.
Yeah.
Start over. Fix that dog. Find a nice family that wants a pet, and start over. I did that with 4 dogs or 5 dogs 2 different times, just because my shit was nowhere near, wasn't even getting close to what I could see in my head.
And you know, I've always worked with a large number of dogs.
You have to.
Yeah, and I can't imagine. You know, a lot of people tell me, well, just get down to 5 or 6 dogs and have fun with it. But that would be like tying my hands behind my back and wanting me to draw a picture.
You're handicapping yourself.
I can't do it because I'm so accustomed to making big changes, like flipping a yard in a year.
Right. But I think
it's
it's
all fixed. Let's go on.
That's what separates a pet owner who likes to have a couple litters,
yeah,
from a dog breeder. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
That earlier, that article you were reading to me about
the shelters.
are you ashamed to be a dog breeder?
Right.
Some people, I feel like we don't have a lot of shame in the bully community or bull breed community. We have people that are parading around like dog breeders that aren't dog breeders.
The meaning of pet owner somewhere along the lines changed.
It became like a negative thing.
Yeah. It used to be, I mean, if you had pets, they could be show dogs and everything.
Right.
You had 2 and you may have had a litter and those were pets. And
I know a handful of people that bought a breeding pair, wanted a male and a female, grew those fucking pair of dogs from 8 weeks to 8 years, had 4 litters over the lifetime of them. That's not a dog breeder. That person had 4 litters. That's not a dog breeder. That's a pet owner that happened to have puppies.
Yeah, and I don't know where it got, twisted around, but it was okay to be a pet owner then and have classy, nice dogs.
Right.
That you bought from a breeder.
Right.
A high-class breeder. I just read a thing tonight about how you shouldn't buy from a breeder, you should adopt from a shelter, and I don't even want to get started on that.
No, let's please get started on that, because from the shit you were reading in the article, statistics-wise, first of all, the whole overpopulating of the shelters, that's all fake. That's bullshit. You look the shit up. What is it? ASPCA, shelters, all these rescues, they don't make money unless there's dogs actually in the kennels, right? So they're importing dogs from other countries to pose as rescues here. If you think I'm kidding, if you think it's bullshit, that's fine. Look it up. Read it. We were just reading an article earlier.
I posted it on my wall. Actually.
It's just posted on Jamie Sweet's page right now.
Yeah, I posted it on my wall.
Well, something like 100,000 dogs a year they're importing to adopt in these shelters. Still pushing the whole propaganda that the shelters are overrun.
Yeah, meat dogs. That's what the article said. But yeah, I mean, I think we all do our share of, rescue work. Do you take a dog back that you sold that the people can't keep? Sure you do.
100%.
A dog comes down the lane at the farm. We don't know whose it is. Yeah, I'll take care of it until I find out whose dog it is. Sometimes they're nobody's dog. So,
But
you
how
know,
many?
But that's how people do.
How many
with
dogs,
dogs.
have you? How many dogs that aren't Shorty Bulls or aren't English Bulldogs or aren't American Bulldogs or aren't Oldies have you seen in town? Especially something like up here at the Pound.
Yeah.
That's not really a pound.
Yeah.
Something up here at the Pound where you take it in and find somebody for it.
Mm-hmm.
Same with me. Again, I'm not trying to pat myself on the back, but letting military veterans adopt stuff for free, you know, it's a win-win for everybody. It's positive publicity for me. It gives me an avenue to where I can cull animals out of my gene pool, out of the breeding program, and it gives a veteran who, frankly, most veterans get treated by absolute dog shit when they come back. Gives them a lifelong companion, hopefully. So, like, we do, everybody, you know, hopefully everybody's doing their share.
And if you want to do something for a shelter, you know, your local shelter would probably really appreciate the donation of some dog food,
Right.
some towels, some beds, you know, physical things that you can take there for these dogs.
Right.
You
And
know, so
I'm not saying shelters are shit.
Yeah.
Okay? Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying all shelters are bullshit. What I'm saying is do a little research on these numbers, man. It's the overpopulation thing, that's done and gone with. That's bullshit. That's fake now. Fake news. Anyway, but yeah, I thought that article was interesting just because she was touching on, you know, some people are ashamed to be dog breeders, which, coming from the East Coast, the negative
that's where PETA was created.
shit
You know?
on the East Coast.
Yes.
The negative shit that comes along with being a dog breeder on the East Coast is like night and day here. It's like more accepted here.
Because we're agricultural.
Right. Well, yeah. I mean, it's I feel like it's just part of life. Like it's part of farm life to breed dogs and raise dogs. That's you know, I don't know. I'm just saying, coming from the East Coast, I can understand why someone would be hesitant to say, yeah, I'm a dog breeder. But like I said, in the bull breed community, we have more people wanting to be looked at as a breeder that aren't. You know, if you bought 3 dogs with the intentions of breeding, maybe it makes you a dog breeder, but most likely it doesn't. Most likely with 3 dogs, I'm not trying to be a dick. You're just not. Nothing wrong with being a pet owner. You should be proud to be a pet owner, proud to have animals that are from a lineage that you can record. You know what I'm saying? From a breeder that you trust, from someone you know is doing the right things. There's nothing wrong with that. What I have a problem with is someone trying to explain to me how to breed dogs when you own 3 fucking animals and you've never even had a litter. Shut the fuck up for a second. Let me tell you how things work.
Well, like...
But that's like me trying to tell you how to breed dogs. I mean, I've been doing this a decade.
Mm-hmm.
I still don't feel like I'm going to come in here and say, hey, Jane, let me show you how things are done. Hold on. Sit down for a second. Let me just handle this.
That's the beauty of this, too. You know, you're always learning. There's always things every single time
No doubt.
you can learn from.
No doubt.
Always, you know, I didn't know that you could overfeed puppies, you know, neonate puppies, with just 5 cc's.
Yeah, a couple extra cc's.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, I wanted to be so on top of it, so I was, back there every 2 hours.
No, and that goes back to...
Remember when I did that?
That goes back to...
You were with me when Griffin...
He said if they're...
Told me.
If they're shitting white,
Even
you're
through-
feeding them too much.
Oh my God.
So, if your puppies are shitting white, and you're tube feeding or bottle feeding, just pull it back a little bit.
Yeah.
If you're feeding them off the mom, they'll probably be all right. If they're shitting white, I've seen that a few times. Little hog ass puppies that won't get off a tit. But if you're tube feeding or bottle feeding and they start shitting white, it looks like milk. Just
Yes, going a little fast through the small intestine, like
smack it
100
down.
miles an hour through there. But it's so hard when you start. You want to get those puppies right on the mother.
Right.
That was one of the hardest things for me to get used to. was.
That's stressful.
Yeah, after a section, let your mom recover.
Yeah.
Make sure she's sort of with it, has had a drink of water, been to the bathroom.
Super hard to fight that reflex, though.
You know, it's like 5 hours I go now.
Yeah.
I just put them in the incubator. I wait 5 hours. In those 5 hours, my pups have come to life. They're hungry, so they want to nurse.
Right.
You know, the mom is kind of with it.
Kind of with it now.
Kind of with it. Yeah. It's easier, but
your first instinct, like your first reflex when the puppies come out,
yes.
they need to be on that tit.
Right.
It's hard to fight that instinct to want to put them on a tit instantly. You have 24 hours before your female stops producing colostrum. You have a whole day after they come out of that bitch before you're in trouble. Just give her some. I tell everybody, like, for me, females don't ever get left alone with puppies for the first 24 hours, and that's only if I know they're.
Mm-hmm.
I can see that
Yes.
they're going to be a good mom. But after a C-section, that first 12 hours, they're going to be loopy as fuck still.
Mm-hmm.
Some females are going to come out of it 5-6 hours. You know, I've seen bitches 18 hours later still have a problem walking after a C-section. So.
Yeah.
That first 24 hours is crucial. You need to get some milk in there, but you have a whole day.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be. I mean, I used to do the same thing. Like Blue, we were talking about Blue Rose's litter. That C-section, she had 9 puppies, little 14-inch bitch. You know, 9 puppies. And I'm like, as soon as we get them out, like before we left the vet, I'm like, let's get them on a tit. And my vet's like, get them on a tit. It's like, why don't you go home? Let your bitch wake up. Okay?
Oh.
But don't they need milk? Yeah, like tomorrow.
Yeah. Puppies are more resilient than we know.
For sure.
Than we think.
Well, think about how many females have dug a hole under the shed, had 14 puppies, every single one of them's the healthiest thing you've ever seen 6 weeks later. Don't even know they're in there until 6 weeks later, bitch comes out with big saggy tits. Hey, we got some pups.
Craziness. That's craziness. Yeah, I had an English Bulldog do that. One of Mike and I's first dogs. Actually, I kind of surprised him with a pair of dogs. I bought a pair of dogs. The male English Bulldog was 9.
Wow.
Yeah, this was my big surprise deal. Like,
wow.
He was 9.
Bought yourself a stud dog.
Yes, I did. And she was 6. You know, you got a little deal on them. If I bought the pair.
Fuck, you're lucky.
Oh no.
Looking back at it, you're lucky she got pups.
Well, we had our little week figured out when she was due. Pretty sure she wasn't going to go on the first day, so she's out at the farm. She's running around doing her thing. Pretty soon we don't know where she went. We can't find her anywhere. And that's exactly what she did. Dug a hole. When we find her, she has 6 English Bulldog puppies. Fact.
Well,
that's a fact.
Now, James, English
Yes.
Bulldogs don't have natural puppies. That's a Bulldog trait. That's not, you can't have that.
I know. I've had quite a few do that, and people say, how do you know? And I really think the question is, how bad do you panic?
Yeah. I think that probably, well, I was having this conversation with somebody online earlier. It depends. I think it depends. Like, if you try to have maestro puppies naturally, you're in fucking trouble. That is going to be a problem. But again, I had a female that passed 3 of his puppies before I kind of got panicked. You know, it's possible.
Yeah.
English Bulldogs. I mean, it's possible.
Yeah.
But you just need to be on your shit. You need to be there and on point and ready in case something happens.
And that's something I've paid attention to all these years. You know, like which dogs are going to actually try to do this and get it done. And what I found is
Depends on the mom, you think?
I think and I think it has a little bit to do with their temperament. If they're drivey alpha dogs, it seems to me like they have a tendency to get down and work when something hurts. If they're spoiled house dogs, it seems to me they have a tendency to look at you and wince instead of push.
So, you think it's environmental? Like
I think it's a little bit genetic too. Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, it makes sense because I feel like a lot of things that we dog people, quote unquote dog people, a lot of things that we attribute to genetics, hip dysplasia, for example. A lot of people, hip dysplasia is genetic, but now we're starting to find out that maybe not. Maybe obviously there's some percentage of it is a genetic problem, but maybe puppies growing up in a slippery whelping box their whole life, maybe that has something to do with it.
Right.
Maybe, that's why, like,
nutrition.
Yeah, maybe the fact that you kept your puppy 16 pounds overweight the whole time they were growing, maybe that has something to do with it. I just feel like that, how a dog is raised has a lot to do with how they are as an adult, just like how children are raised has a lot to do with how they are as adults.
And sometimes our best intentions, we don't even realize what we're doing until something's done.
Actually hindering.
Yeah, just like dog training, Your dog is scared of cars. Do you reach down and stroke the dog when he's scared of cars and tell him it's going to be okay? Or you just expect him to cross the street with you, so you make the dog and you get excited after you're across the street. But if you stroke the dog when it doesn't want to cross the street while it's freaking out, oh, it's okay. You just reinforce freaking out.
Yeah. Yeah, you just positively reinforce the negative action.
Yeah. And I think we do, until you're conscious
pretty
of those
common.
things.
I feel like that's pretty common with dog people, especially new, I call them fur moms. The one time, and dudes fall into that category too.
Right.
You could be a grown man and be a fur mom, according to the Bull-NA-ChinaShop podcast. Don't get it twisted. I'm just saying, like, the first time pet owners that they're reading these books that they found on Facebook from another fur mom who shared a page off of the I Love Pit Bulls page. You know what I mean? These and I'm not trying to bash anybody. I'm just saying these are the same things that we all run into at first. You unless you have some sort of knowledge about raising and training dogs, the shit is going to be simple mistakes that you're going to make no matter what you do. I mean, everybody does, And
Right.
especially training something. I mean, I know a little bit, but I'm not super knowledgeable. I know how to create boundaries for dogs. I know how to tell them no. I know how to, be the pack leader. But I don't know how to train your dog how to sit and stay. You know what I mean? I don't even want to do that. I don't even like my dogs being taught how to sit. Think about that. Show dogs. The first time.
Oh, there's a great example.
First time people buy a dog they want to show, the first thing they do is take it to an obedience class.
Kindergarten.
Puppy kindergarten. What's the first thing they do in that class? They teach your dog how to sit. So it then associates every good thing in its life up to that point. All I have to do is sit and I get a treat.
When you stop, I'm supposed to
When
sit.
you stop, I sit. Give me that treat, bitch. I sit, I'm sitting. So then you go to a show, you stop to stack your dog up and it sits every time. Give me my treat, bitch. Well, you ain't getting a treat now. We're at a show. You're supposed to stand. I don't know how to stand. I'm sitting. You stopped. I'm sitting. I need a treat.
And retraining is so much harder.
Way harder. Just people too, same thing.
Yes, it's so much harder. But that goes into another thing that makes a successful breeder is specific goals. It's very specific goals.
Are we going to get into the form follows function conversation?
We can.
Because I feel like this is where that's going. Like if you
right.
set specific goals for what you want to do, you're gonna. Your goals are going to tell you what kind of dog.
At some point, you will realize form follows function and exactly what that means. I argued that with my father for a long time because I wanted a really bully dog to do everything. And we used to argue all the time. You know, I wanted to have this certain look because I love bully features. But I wanted it to perform like a pit bull. Wanted to do everything. And I got close a couple times. I got close.
But those are anomalies. Those are the exceptions.
Right. Those are the exceptions.
Right.
And then when I built my oldies, I really learned the hard way because I got the wrong brain in the wrong body. You know, and I had a big, massive dog loaded with muscle. And its brain was just hardwired like the attitude of a game dog, you know? And so it didn't have any quit, but it couldn't really cool down because it had all this muscle, you know? So I learned about form follows function a real hard way, but I'll never screw that up again. Ever. You can only get so much when it's built a certain way.
Right.
You know? The more dogs you raise, the more you pay attention to how they're built, the more you pay attention to what they're actually capable of.
I think people are confused on that.
You'll learn that.
The form follows function phrase.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like people are confused by that. You know, when we're talking about form follows function, the function that you want that dog to perform is going to limit what it can look like. Right. You can't have, like you're saying, you can't have a big, heavy, muscle-bound oldie go and perform, you know, like a working dog or a herder.
Right, it can perform.
It can
perform
within its limitations. It can do, you know, a lot of things
for a little bit of time, you know.
But if you expect
it's the same with people.
If you expect an oldie to outrun a Saluki ever, that's never going to happen. I don't give a fuck what kind of oldies you're breeding. If you have an oldie that can outrun a Saluki, you don't have an oldie. For real. And that's what we're talking about. Form follows function. The form of the how the dog's built is going to determine the function it can do, the purpose it has, and vice versa. The purpose it has is going to immediately affect how that dog looks and is built. Dachshund is an example I use all the time. The function for a dachshund is to go in a hole and pull rabbits out of a hole, right? The how a dachshund's built is a long body, a stiff tail, and short legs.
And a narrow head.
A narrow head.
Long head.
It's like a big torpedo,
Spade.
right? So this dog goes in the hole, gets the rabbit, bites. It has to have a strong bite to hold on to the rabbit. So it's cheeky. If you look at a dachshund, cheeky head, a little narrow skull, but a cheeky head. Short legs so it can actually fit in the hole. A long body so the hunter can grab, and a stiff tail so the hunter can grab its tail and pull it out of the hole with the rabbit in its mouth. So that function determined how that dog ended up being built. And it's the other way around too. It works the other way around. You have to give up, and this is straight from you. You have to give up shit sometimes to get what you want.
You do, and it just you do have to give up some things. And when you were talking about the dachshund, this brings me to something that I find really interesting. You know, the top line on, say, an English bulldog. You know, the rise over the loins, the dip in the shoulders. You know, when I look at that dog, I think, why would anyone want to have that sort of top? Why is that desirable? You know? Because when I built the Shorties, you know, I wanted a different top line on. I wanted to get completely away from that.
Right.
You know, it's not aesthetically pleasing to me. But there was a purpose for that top line, believe it or not. And I don't think the dogs serve the same purpose today. But back in the day when they really did catch bulls, that was for the spring.
Right, when they were bull baiting.
Yeah, isn't that amazing?
Well, that's I feel like the same way with American Pit Bull Terriers even now, that, you know, old gamers call it a spring back, because that roach that gives them that spring off their back legs and that power coming off the ground. Makes a lot of sense.
Yeah,
it's like a recoil effect almost.
I thought that was really interesting, but you know, today, I mean, at some point we have to realize, you know, these dogs aren't gonna smell a bull, let alone catch one ever. We're not doing that.
Yeah, there's no more bull baiting.
Yeah, we're not doing that anymore.
And-
Although Bootsy thinks once in a while she's old school, gonna do that.
But and the thing
You gotta
is,
see it.
if you are bull baiting and you need a dog for that purpose, there's a dog built for that purpose. It's not an English bulldog anymore.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, and then when we talk about function too, you know, bulldogs, they come from the front to grab the bull and hold the bull, not herd the bull, hold the bull.
Right.
The shepherds, heel nippers, to move the animals forward. You know.
Yeah, herders. Yeah.
That's another thing we need to, you know, realize. If you live in town and you think a beagle's cute and you want a beagle, but then you're surprised when it puts its nose to the ground and it's 3 blocks away, when you turn around, that's normal. That's what they do. That's what beagles do.
That is literally all they do.
Yeah. So if you want something to just hang on the porch, don't get a beagle. I mean, it will for little periods of time, but you know, naturally it wants to hunt.
I don't know. I feel like people that form follows functions is something that confused me for a long time. It's something that I think confuses a lot of people even right now.
It is. And think back when you first started in bulldogs, you were so interested and you know, you looked at the dogs and maybe you didn't know what all the faults were, and you know, the first fault that you ever really focused on. You know, I'll never forget mine. Mine was straight stifles. Okay? I knew they were straight, but I didn't realize how straight they were, you know? Until they got pointed out to me. And you'll rarely see a straight stifle dog here anymore because that fault is always right here, you know? But it was like a light bulb goes off in your head, and then you never forget that fault once you know it. But until you know it, you don't see it.
Right.
Like experienced people. And that's why we're all so different. There's levels to this. And, you know, it does make us all different. And it affects everything we do. You know, our breeding plans. If you can't see it, how can you breed forward or away from it?
Yeah, that has a lot to do with, even if you have a vision, your actual knowledge can hold you back, you know? And we use the term kennel blind a lot. That falls right into that category, not understanding how a dog's built or supposed to be built can also play a huge role in you being kennel blind to the fact that you're breeding, you know, shit dogs.
I read something today that was really interesting, and it was about
Can I unplug this?
yeah, you can.
Just for a
That's
second?
John Sweet's handiwork there.
Well,
I think
I know
you just
that-
have to move it.
I know you can hear the
It's
humming in the micro.
yeah, it's the freezer.
1 second, people.
Yeah, I think it's John Shim under the freezer there.
Will that help a little?
You can unplug it back there. Time out.
Time out.
Oh, that's
look at
so
that.
much better.
Okay, so the dog noises I was talking about, that's not what I was talking about.
Look at that dog food freezer. Look at that, baby.
Yeah,
That's avocado green.
but the thing is, motherfuckers don't even feed raw dog food. Like, what is that for?
You know, I occasionally do have a little raw. Now, I don't believe in whole, completely raw, but, you know, a little meat with kibble. Yes, I do. But anyway, back to what I was saying. Knowledge is power. How many times do you hear that? Knowledge is power. Knowledge is power. Knowledge is power. Knowledge with experience and action is big power. Okay, so I'm reading this today. And the guy's talking about kayaking. He wants to go kayaking. Never been kayaking, but it looks really cool. So he reads all the books. He goes out. He buys the best equipment. You know, top-notch everything. He researches the rivers, figures out where he's going to go, and he's got all this knowledge, but he's never kayaked before. Now he's rolling around upside down in his kayak. Okay? What do you think he learned from that? Experience is kind of necessary.
Yeah.
Kind of necessary.
And this is one of those, this is another hands-on type of thing. You know, I love when people quote passages out of books to me. First of all, nine times out of 10, they're out of context. You're using the quote in the wrong fucking context in the first place. But most of the time, that quote from that book, I don't know. I've seen too many times where, you know, you're reading a book, well, this is not going to happen, and then that happens. Or you're reading a book, well, this can't happen. Well, that did happen. So
Yeah.
Where's
certainly did happen.
Where's the book on what happens when this happens? Because
yeah, and what happens when it's not a miracle? And it was never supposed to happen, but it did. You know?
Right. Like, I mean, I think a great example of that is that rage litter. You know, I feel like a lot of people would say, once she passed, why would you do the C-section?
Right.
You know, why wouldn't you? Is what I would say. Why wouldn't I try to save those puppies still?
Mm-hmm.
How long do you think they had in there before they were?
I had to drive 9 miles.
No, I mean, how long do you think they could have been in there and still done the C-section?
I don't know.
Because a mom, I mean, basically what happened was you took I mean, as harsh as it is, a dead body in there full of puppies.
Yeah.
And you cut a dead body open and pulled life out of it. So how long, my question is, how long after that bitch died could those puppies have survived, you know?
I was totally amazed that day. Another thing that I've experienced twice now that I think is a miracle. Do you remember when Mike took the puppies early? When I was working and called me after they took the first one out?
No, and then sewed her back up.
Yeah. That was an amazing day because even the vet said, you know, this is a big chance. But if we take them early, chances are they're going to die anyway.
Right.
You know, so we tried something and we put her on basically bed rest and a high dose of antibiotics.
Right, so basically Mike took her in too early.
Right.
Doc started doing the C-section.
Yeah, took the first puppy out.
Took the first puppy out.
And it
noticed
didn't have
it was
hair.
too early.
Yeah.
No hair.
Yeah.
So
just a little bit of hair on its, on its body.
Right. So it was
Cheeks,
a few
feet
days
were
early.
like puffy rubber.
And then didn't put that puppy back in, obviously.
No, we brought it home to the incubator and
Right.
we kept it alive for 3 days.
But sewed that bitch up.
Yes.
And brought the bitch home and put her on bed rest. And then how many days later?
A week later.
A week later went back and actually did the C-section.
Yeah. With
And the
7
puppies
live
were all
puppies.
fine.
Yeah. Amazing.
Ain't that some shit?
Yeah. Amazing. But
Don't try
the
that
reason,
at home.
No, the
Do not
reason
try
I thought
that
that
shit
would
at
work
home.
is because of this. This is one of the times when they told me, it never worked. Panda, again, had heavy litter syndrome. So, took her to the vet. Vet says we have to sacrifice the puppies. I'm afraid she's going to die. So I said, okay, let's sacrifice the puppies. So we took the puppies. We took 7 puppies out. And they lived a short amount of time and they just couldn't breathe. And they passed. So I bring her home, and a week later, as we're getting ready to go to the football game, on her due date, she starts digging in her box, just like a mom in labor. So I tell Mike, the dog's digging, I think she's going to have a pup. Mike's like, you just had a C-section. There's no way. I'm going to the game. Okay. So he goes to the game. I let the dog out to the bathroom, let her back in. She comes in the kitchen, and she's so happy to show me what she's done outside. She throws up a puppy. I freak out, call the vet. Vet's like, there's no way. I said, yeah, and she's digging and panting. I think there's another one in there. It's like, there is no way. But bring her down. Take her down. Do a sonogram. Yes, there's a little beating heart in there.
Insane.
Yeah, so we cut her back open. We get the pup out. Live pup. It lives. It was a terrible dog. Horrible dog. No, it was a really active pup, and it was stubborn and a lot, but it did live.
Fuck that puppy. Let's talk about who. I mean, we've all.
Can I be mad at the vet?
No.
I mean, once you see a cesarean, I can see how a pup would be forgotten in there or missed or whatever.
Especially how little these dogs are and how little the puppies are coming out of them.
Yeah, and it was amazing.
And you still be a little bit mad. You still be a little bit. Listen, motherfucker, get your hands in there and feel if there's puppies.
Yeah, but
isn't it crazy that 2 puppies survived 5 days after a C-section?
After all that.
And if she probably wouldn't have eaten the one in the yard, it would have been fine too. Listen, in my opinion, you really not breeding dogs unless you had a bitch eat some puppies.
Oh. Yeah. It's
If you haven't collected your dog and you haven't had a female eat some puppies, you ain't really breeding dogs.
I know. I like to think about it like this, like the guy with 2 litters. Like, we have no health problems in our line. We have never had any.
You don't have a line. You don't have a line. You have a pair of breeding dogs.
But as your litters increase, your chances of things going wrong increase. Your chances of seeing a miracle increase.
Right.
Those are all things we need to factor in.
You should come into this expecting shit to happen, though.
Yeah. It's going to.
Well, I didn't, though. I mean, like we were talking a few minutes ago, I didn't. When first litter I had went perfectly fine.
Yeah, but what happened when you had the problems? Let's talk about that. This goes to your mindset and how you operate. What do you do when you have a problem? Does that make you shut down, quit, blame everybody else for it? Or do you say, what could I have done differently? What went wrong? Let's figure this out. I'm going to try again.
I mean, I did have a little bit of knowledge about dogs and breeding and shit because my dad, when I was super young, my dad always had dogs and always had puppies. So I had a little bit. I mean, wasn't the first litter I had wasn't the first time I ever seen puppies. It was the first time I ever seen puppies born, for sure, which was scary as fuck. But then I really don't think I had actual problems until my 4th litter. And the bitch just couldn't pass them. She just hours went by and she just pushing, couldn't pass them. And I waited as long as I possibly could to take her in for a C-section because back then, I don't need no fucking C-section. Well, you're breeding bully dogs, sir, so yes you do. But took her in for a C-section, it was. I look at it as shit happens. I don't look at it as what went wrong or what can I do. It's just, for me, there's some shit that's out of your control. Like, there's taking a bitch in for a C-section and, making the incision and pulling the first puppy out, and that puppy has a fucking elephant trunk. There's no, I mean, how could that possibly be on your shoulders? That's a genetic deformity, or a puppy coming out that has absolutely no bone in its skull. It's just a soft leather head. Water puppies, I mean, that shit is out of your control. I mean, no matter if you if you had the male tested for every possible thing it could be tested for, the female tested for every possible thing it could be tested for, those 2 puppies could have, or those 2 dogs could have a litter full of water puppies right now.
Yeah.
They could have water heads right now. There's nothing you could have done to stop or prevent that. So for me, it's like, shit happens. We're breeding live beings. You know what I'm saying? In a way, we are playing God. In a way.
Right.
But I don't have the power of quote unquote God. Right? I don't have the ability to stop those from being waterheads.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes shit is just gonna happen. Sometimes it's your fault though.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just gotta buck up and say, "Look, I fucked up. That was my bad."
Yeah.
Then you're like, "What did I do wrong? How can I do it differently next time? Like, how can we stop that bitch from dying next time?"
Mm-hmm. I don't know how we would have stopped that, really.
No, I think the rage thing, like the Lucky 7 litter, I think that was, especially with the vet being involved from the very first second. I mean, I don't really know what else you could do. Give up the whole litter of puppies or put her life in risk, which you probably didn't really feel like her life was at risk until the last couple of hours, I feel like.
Yeah, and it was so sudden. She was right there on the console. You know, I didn't have her in a crate like I should have, but, you know, I had to kind of hold her up. And we were so close to making it, you know?
Right. But this, what I think is, or what I'm thinking while we're talking about this is, like, even if she made it,
right,
to put her upside down long enough to
that's what
get
I'm
those
thinking
puppies
too.
out.
Yeah.
How the fuck would she ever breathe? You know, pull the oxygen that long?
Yeah, I think it would have smashed her.
Yeah, I think she
Being
would
a
have been.
cave-in, we probably would have lost her on the table. It was just an awful.
Do it like
thing.
a cow and go out the side.
You know, they used to do cesareans that way on bulldogs. In
No
the side.
shit.
Yeah, a long time ago. Like our first ones, that's where the scars were.
For anybody that doesn't know that's listening, when a cow has a C-section, they go in the side. They don't cut her stomach where her udders are. They go in from the side and pull the calf out the side.
Cows have cesareans. That's crazy. You know?
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure that doesn't happen very often either. But with these big, you know, with these out here with the beef ranchers and stuff, they probably don't even see them have calves most of the time. They're out in the pasture or whatever.
I've seen a couple calf cesareans.
But
And
like,
you know the calves can weigh like 200 pounds.
yeah, fuck
at birth.
yeah. I used to work on a dairy farm, and actually that was the first experience I have ever had with breeding, because dairy farms most of them don't have a bull sitting out back and they're breeding their cows. Most of them call the people with the frozen semen, and they come and inseminate their cows. The first time I watched a cow get inseminated, I was like, what in the fuck is going on, you know? Because you have to clean the cow's ass out, because you have to have your hand up her ass to guide the tube into her cervix through the vagina. Super weird. So this guy's got a glove on from his fingers to his shoulder, literally, and I'm like, what the fuck? Hand straight up this cow's ass to his shoulder. And this cow, arm to his shoulder up her ass, just pulling shit, just raking shit out of this cow's ass. He's got his hand up there, covered in shit. Puts the tube in, he's feeling around. You could see his hand moving around. Crazy. Craziness. But I seen a couple of 2 C-sections that when I worked there, straight out of the side, I was like, what the... Never see anything like that. But most of the time, the cows, you know, they freshen on their own. When a cow has a calf, it's called freshening. Dairy cows. Freshening, because their milk refreshes. Kickstarts their milk process again. But yeah, craziest shit I ever seen was the first time I ever watched a cow get inseminated. Because it's like we use 18-inch, or most John Sweet uses 8-inch pipettes.
Yeah.
I think
I like the
18-inch ones at the
4-wheel
house.
drive.
We're talking like a 3.5-foot tube. They got to go 3.5 foot up in this bitch to even get her pregnant. Crazy.
You know, Aslan's little dog Polly, that weighs 4.5 pounds. That was probably the craziest cesarean I've ever seen.
A blue, long-haired Chihuahua.
Yeah.
Is what Polly is. Crazy.
Well, Aslan says accidentally. I don't know. She probably let the Shorty bull out. I don't know. Her and Caitlin do this shit. But anyway, the dog gets bred accidentally, so she's huge pregnant. There's no way this little thing's having Shorty bull puppies. a cesarean on
No,
a 4-pound dog. It was like this.
She might weigh 4 pounds.
It was like little tweezers and
Griff did that one too?
tiny. No, that was Dr. Ben's. Yeah. Just the incision was like 2 inches long. 2 Shorty bull puppies. That's where Bam came from.
Yeah, Bam.
Yeah.
The other one that was the French Bulldog litter and Polly. Who's the other one?
Yeah.
Pow.
Mm-hmm.
No.
Not Pow.
Bam.
Yeah.
He looks like a bodybuilder chihuahua is what he looks
that's
like.
what he looks like. No long hair at all.
Not a bit.
I mean,
the
slick
most
horse coat.
ripped. I mean, I'm talking bulk muscle on a chihuahua. It's crazy.
That was such a crazy thing. But yeah, we had to do the cesarean. Her whole stomach was like this big.
It's like the size of like a tea saucer.
Yeah.
Like a coffee cup saucer.
Yeah, it was very tiny.
That's insane. I think the only time I've ever seen Chihuahua have puppies was that time we were at Griff's, and he pulled the Chihuahua puppy right in half, trying to pull it out of her.
That was awful. That pup had been out for a little while though.
Yeah, I mean this
God.
this bitch is just struggling for hours. This puppy's stuck, stuck. I'm talking so stuck that when he pulled on the legs, the body came in half. Craziest shit I've ever seen.
It had been gone for a long time.
Yeah, it was pretty rough. It actually looked like it started deteriorating already and stuff. But I guess the whole point of this last 30-minute conversation is you need to expect some shit to happen coming into this. The longer you breed dogs, the more litters you have, the more dogs you own, the more shit you're going to see.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you shouldn't. This is the best one. This is the best one right here. People looking down their nose. Like people that have had 3 litters looking down their nose at people that have 30 litters because they've had bad elbows come out of it or their toenails are too fucking long or, like don't sit too high on your fucking high horse because the longer you have puppies and the more litters you have, I promise you the shit you're going to see. Mm-hmm. You're going to see.
No matter what breed it is.
No matter what breed.
Mm-hmm. No matter what
breed.
Go
breed some Cavalier Spaniels. Go breed some King Charles Cavalier Spaniels. Tell me how that works out for you. These dogs have a fucking disease where their skull doesn't grow big enough for their brain. And they have like nervous twitches and they spin circles in the floor constantly, hours and hours and hours and hours.
Wow.
Yeah, go breed that shit. Have a couple of those come out of your litters and see how high on your horse you're fucking sitting. Mm-hmm. But it's always people who haven't done shit who have the most to say, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Or the people who have, I won 3 third places last weekend at the 45 dog show. I'm sorry, but that hell holds no weight where I'm sitting. If I'm speaking on something, I have a fucking resume. If I'm going to give you advice about something, I'm also going to have a resume. If you need to check, you can check. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and the other thing is, if I haven't seen it, I haven't seen it.
Yeah.
And I'm.
It's okay.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's okay to say I don't know.
That's one thing I haven't seen.
It's okay to keep your opinion to yourself and say I don't know.
Yeah, but you do this long enough, you have lots of stories to tell, and lots of things to laugh about. And
what's the craziest thing? I already know the answer to this. Actually, this is a setup. What's the craziest thing you've ever had come out of a breeding?
You know what that
I already know what it is. I've seen it. I put my hands on it.
That was insane. Okay, English Bulldog litter.
I'm talking like the craziest deformity, the freakiest looking thing you've ever seen come out of what you thought was going to be a litter.
So she's huge. Scheduled C-section. Take her in. We pull out 10 beautiful, healthy puppies.
First of all,
vet says
10 English Bulldog puppies and 1 English Bulldog. That bitch had to be huge.
Yeah. So we get to this last thing. It's huge.
Thing.
We don't know what it is, but the vet says, Houston, we have a problem.
Yeah, big problem.
A big problem. So I put the puppies down that I'm working on. I look over there. It's big. It's a big ball in the uterus, you know.
I can't
So I'm
even
like,
imagine
what do you think
that
it is? He's like,
looked
I don't know what this is. Let's find out.
Well, what did it look like inside the sack, though? I can't even imagine.
Well, in the uterus, it just looked big. Like it looked like a huge pop.
Like a tumor, probably.
Yeah,
I bet
it
that's
was
what
just
he
like
was thinking.
big. He said, I don't know what it is. Let's find out. So he cuts it open. It's alive. Pulls it out. Or I'm blown away. He's not really. This thing is 3 puppies fused into one. It has 8 legs.
It's a fact.
1 head. Yeah, it has 2 sets of front legs. 2 rear ends.
2 full rear ends and like a partial.
Yeah, kind of connected at the stomach.
Fucking weirdest thing
And
ever.
it's alive.
When it came out, it was
Yes,
alive.
it's alive. It's moving.
We're talking like
In my head, I'm thinking I'm raising this thing. This is gonna be the coolest shit ever.
I'm retired.
I'm
I
done.
just
I got
retired.
this thing is so cool. Octopuppy. I renamed it.
Get
Yeah.
TMZ now. Get me
Octopuppy
TMZ now.
was born. Doc's like, do you think we should put that down? I'm like, oh my god, no. I love this thing. So, you know, I was really excited about it. And then as I kept cleaning it, then we saw that it probably wasn't going to make it. You know, it had one, he thought it had 1 heart. And,
So like
maybe
2.5 bodies,
Mm-hmm.
but 1 heart. He thought it was like almost like Siamese triplets.
Yeah, it was eggs that didn't get
Fully
completely
separated,
but it did get fertilized. So anyway,
So really, she had 13 puppies
Yes,
in that
yes.
motherfucker. Just one of them
and that
happened
was
to be
Scar. You remember Scar?
3. I actually think
Scar.
I remember you showing me pictures.
Yeah. But anyway, yeah. So it lived for 20 minutes, and it passed on its own, and I was so deflated. I was really excited about that thing, you know. I really was. I know that sounds weird.
I mean, there's people right now that have 2-headed goats. There are people right now that have 2-headed goats.
But you have to have a lot of puppies to get an 8-legged one. I'm just saying. A lot of
I mean,
puppies.
I've seen some shit. Like, organs born on the outside.
Yeah.
You know, water heads, no bone in the skull, elephant trunk, no fucking nose at all, look like a monkey skull.
Yeah.
But a Siamese triplet? That's insane.
Yeah, it really was. But
Yeah, you want to see some shit? Make a trip to Jamie Sweet's house. The shit is still in a jar in the office. That's a fact.
oh my goodness. Yeah, that was crazy. That was a crazy thing. You know? And it was just simply because the eggs didn't separate. The rest of the pups, perfectly fine, nice litter. You
Right,
know?
and that's what I mean. That's a genetic deformity. Something that happened out of your control. How the fuck could you ever have stopped that? There's nothing you could do. There's no book you could read. There's no, there's no hip test that you could take. There's no fucking ataxia test that you can get certified in to stop that. It's just you can't do anything.
And there is such a thing as tetragenic effects too, and it's in humans too, and that's when there's an outside
Influence.
chemical.
Like the power lines, living under the power lines.
Yeah, it happened to me with a pit bull one time. I had her pinned by my mother's garden, and my mom sprayed. It was a harsh chemical. I don't remember what it is. I think it's off the market now. In her garden. And we didn't realize this until we started putting things together afterward. But the entire litter was deformed. And it was really harsh deformities. Harsh. And so we had to think back, what were we doing at this time? You know, during the pregnancy, did we do any? You know, vet had a lot of questions, and we narrowed it down to mom spraying of the garden. You know, it blew right in there on her. You know, mom wasn't thinking anything about it.
Right.
But, you know, tetragenic effects too. I think sometimes I worry about giving my mom's drugs while they're pregnant. You know, I don't like to use the front line, even though they say it's safe. I don't like to do those things because of that.
Yeah. As much as they say frontline and wormers stuff is safe, like, always makes me nervous.
Yeah.
Always makes me nervous giving your bitch anything when she's pregnant. I like to give a multivitamin, some kibble, leave her alone.
Yeah.
If you can, you know. So I know people that spray their yards for fleas and ticks and stuff. I can imagine what some of those chemicals would do if they got in the bloodstream, or, you know, I can imagine.
Yeah, I think the less we do during that time. You know, a lot of people put their moms on puppy food. I don't change that either. You know, I'm not trying to have big fat
cottage cheese and sour cream and satin balls and all this crazy stuff. You don't need that. Yeah, give your bitch some calcium until you have a bitch that has a what is it called? Calcium toxification.
Eclampsia.
Yeah, eclampsia, mastitis.
Yeah.
Oh, actually, that's a good one. Mega Million's mom, died from mastitis when he was 3.5 weeks.
Really?
Yeah, my partner. If you could see my face right now, it's just like one of those shaking my head emojis where the palm is in the guy's face. But anyway, my partner had the litter. Obviously, you know, I did the breeding, all that, whelped the puppies, all that. Everything was fine. Three males. Bitch was fine, but the bitch produced a lot of milk, a lot of milk. And I told my partner, like, listen, she's got enough milk for like 12 puppies. These 3 puppies aren't gonna cut it. You know, you just come out here and squeeze these tits and make sure they don't get hard. Well, I don't think he did that at all. So she got like a blister on the side of her tit where the mastitis had infected her mammary gland, and basically blew the whole mammary gland out the side of her tit, leaving like a...
Yeah, it looks like a bullet hole.
A bullet hole, but like a rod. Like a rod went through the side of her tit. And it just, went septic within like 24 hours. She was as soon as that happened, we got antibiotics in her. As soon as we started noticing them getting hard and red, and we couldn't do anything. As soon as that mammary gland blew out, it was infected almost instantly, no matter what we put on it. Triple antibiotic ointment. We didn't have Vetricin then. I say this all the time. If we had Vetricin, that bitch would still be alive.
Carrie did save a mastitis dog, of the severe mastitis dog, with Vetricin.
I'm telling you.
Yeah, she really did. It was amazing. But
it's like miracle water.
There's so many things too with puppies that you don't. You just have to have litters till you get the knack. There's a knack for recognizing when things are going wrong before it's a complete disaster.
Early recognition.
Yeah. You know, if you think a puppy is slipping a little bit, it's not gaining, it's not nursing. Well, let's talk about that, fading puppy. Fading puppy. That's a broad term, you know. I know.
What's the technical term? Fading puppy syndrome's canine herpes, right?
Yeah, it could be canine herpes. It could be so much as a cleft in the roof of its mouth, but the outside of the face, it looks normal. It's a noisy nurser. You might see some bubbles around its mouth, but until you've had lost puppies and find out maybe that's a cleft, thinks to look?
Hear it breathing through milk?
Who thinks to open its mouth, look at the roof of the mouth, and sometimes it's just a groove. That's all it is. And, you know, in 3 days your puppy's gone, or 5 days or whatever. You know, it just doesn't gain weight. and you think maybe it just faded away. Always look in the roof of their mouth. We look at birth. Every single I don't care if it's a collie, it doesn't matter. We look at every single one.
Yeah, because I feel like clefts. That's one of those things where, that's.
It's a real interesting topic.
Interesting. Like you can do things to cause them. Could be nutritional.
There could be. I mean, there is a genetic factor.
Definitely could be genetic.
But
you could have a litter of 10 full healthy puppies and one cleft at the end.
Yeah.
Is that the genetic factor? Is that some sort of environmental? Is that because she didn't get enough nutrition when they were the palates were closing up? What is that?
I just had a big conversation with a vet about this. His thoughts on this. He leans more towards nutritional. He's a big believer in vitamins for your pregnant bitch.
Yeah.
Even if it's human prenatal vitamins for your bitch every day. Even before you breed her, start that up. Good kibble, good quality kibble.
Which, good luck.
Yeah.
Good luck finding a quote unquote quality kibble.
Right.
They're all the same. Doesn't matter if you get fucking Taste of the Wild or you go down here and buy Imes from Walmart. It's all the same shit. One has a little more filler than the other probably. But it's all the same shit. They're making all these fucking things. There's like 3 different plants that all the dog foods get made in. You know what I mean?
They're right here too.
Like Blue Buffalo and Diamond are made in the same place. Blue Buffalo's $60 A++ dog food. Diamond's like $40 C dog food. Made in the same place by the same people. But I think that's something that Doc's got me kind of sold on too.
The vitamins.
Is the multivitamins. Because I got away from it for, I don't know, maybe a year. And not that I seen any difference in litters dropping off or anything, because I wasn't getting bitches pregnant even before that. I went through like a 3-year stretch where I was like 2 for 6 or 2 for 7 each year, 3 years in a row. But this year, since I started the New Vet vitamins, and I hate plugging New Vet because the motherfuckers don't sponsor anybody. But the New Vet, when I started back on the New Vet Plus vitamins, Doc has not missed my bitches yet this year.
That's interesting.
Lost 1 to Pyometra, but we haven't had 1 miss yet.
Wow,
this year.
That's good.
And
what about milk production?
I've never had issues with that. Never one time dealt with that.
That's awesome.
But I'm just lucky in that sense. I never once dealt with a bitch not producing milk. I had a bitch not produce milk for like the first 10 hours, 12 hours, which made me nervous. Then I think whatever it is, the oxytocin kicking in, or just her natural, I'm a mom now kicking in. Could have been either one.
Oxytocin is the bonding hormone too.
The bonding hormone.
The bonding hormone. So, when those mothers that are just out of their heads, they don't want to do this. Sometimes that oxytocin just has to hit hard to make them bond.
That's interesting.
Yeah. In humans too. Oxytocin's a powerful hormone.
And it's normally released during birth, but they give it during the C-section to make the uterus contract, clean itself out, because it's not doing that normally. But for people the same way, I'm sure even if you have a C-section when you're a person, you still want your uterus to clean the rest of that shit out of there.
Well, like if they induce labor in a woman with Pitocin, that's oxytocin. Same thing.
Right.
Except
we get a drip. $750 a shot.
We get a drip, really slow, all day deal.
The dogs just get a shot in their ass.
Yeah.
I hope you're ready, because here it comes.
Yeah. But yeah, puppies, there's a knack for it. When you have your puppies in the box, do you remember how you could tell if they were hot or if they were too cool? I remember this was a big deal for me. because I wanted them all in a pile. You know, and I couldn't figure out why. They were all crawling around. They were restless.
They're fucking hot.
They're hot. Duh. They're hot. I was making sure that the whole room was extra warm, draft free. Yeah, but I had them way too hot. So, yeah, as soon as I kicked the heat back a little bit, I got that nice quiet pile of
Yeah,
puppies.
that does take a little bit of experience to get the right, distance for your heat lamp and stuff. I've had a lot of people this year actually ask me about that. Like, one guy hit me up. We just had a litter of Maestro puppies. Hit me up and said, all the puppies are screaming, curled up in a pile in the corner. I said they're freezing cold.
Puppies should never
He's
scream.
like, I got a heat lamp in there. How do you know? I said, well, if you have a heat lamp in there, it's not close enough to the floor. They're cold. If they're curled up in a ball, they're cold, period. You see puppies curled up in a ball, screaming, shit's cold. It's not hungry. If it was hungry, it'd be trying to find its mom. It'd be screaming, trying to find its mom. It's not. It's curled up in a ball. It's cold. So, you just learning that distance to where you keep the heat lamp above the floor to keep them warm. That takes a little bit of experience. I like to see my puppies spread out, bellies up.
Oh, that's the best.
Yeah. They're all in 4 different corners of the whelping box and bellies up. You ain't got shit to worry about.
I used to put a little thermometer in the bottom of the box on the floor. That was real efficient. I could get it right to 85 degrees, right where I wanted it.
Right. Till Mom chewed that fucker up one time.
Yeah, exactly. We don't have thermometers anymore. But for that one, it worked great. I got it done.
Like the dog beds. Wooden dog houses outside. Mm-hmm. You only do that one time. You're only going to do that one time, and dog's going to have a fucking wooden dog house shredded like it just went through a wood chipper in about 4 hours. And you'd be like, all right, I'm going to go get an igloo, spend my money wisely. I've been there. I mean, I bought 5, it was like $160 a piece, badass wooden dog houses that were like elevated, and they had like a flat roof they could crawl on, but it was slanted so that it still didn't collect snow and shit, and had like grippy material on the roof so they could get up there and sit and shit. It wasn't 2 days. It was not 2 full days, and every single one of those brand new dog houses was shredded. Mm-hmm. Well, that's the last time we ever had a wooden dog house, ever.
That's why I have angle iron frames on all my doorways, thanks to Louie.
Right.
Had to. But you reminded me of another story now that you got me telling stories about birth and pregnant
Jamie,
things.
sweet
And
story time.
Story time. Okay. So, American Bulldog have this girl named Tess that I raised.
The infamous Tess.
2-ton Tess.
2-ton Tess.
It was actually John Sweet's dog. He claimed he was like 10. So, we breed her. She's very pregnant. I mean, huge. She's not going to have pups for 2.5 weeks. And we bring her in that night, and she looks horrible. She kind of looks like she's got stomach cramps. Then she can't poop. We notice she's going around. She's straining. Nothing's coming out. So what do? Give her a big drink of water. She projectile vomits 4 foot across the floor.
That is bad news, Bears.
Yes, it was bad news. What's that mean? She can't poop.
Little blockage.
Projectile vomiting.
I would guess she has a blockage.
She has a blockage. So, very pregnant. I'm like, oh my God.
This is bad news, Bears.
Call the vet. He's like, what'd she eat? I'm like, I have no idea. Absolutely none.
I don't know, Doc.
But
why don't you come down here and walk around the farm?
I think she's got a block. Pretty sure she's blocked up. Before I took her, I did the old enema thing, hoping that would work. Did the mineral oil? No, we're not getting any results, at all. So, yeah, she's got a blockage. She's eating a whole leash. So, we have to cut her open. We lay the uterus out with all the pups in there. It's like this big around.
American Bulldog.
Yeah,
fucking
huge.
2-pound puppies in there.
Get to the intestines, get the leash out. Sew those back up. Tuck the pups back in. Sew her up in 4 layers. She has her pups. 15 of them. On her due date. No problem.
That's insane.
Yeah. That was Tess. Unbelievable.
See, and this is the thing. Motherfuckers asked me why I moved out here for 2.5 years.
Oh God, let's talk about that day.
What the fuck do you mean? Why did I move out here? Like, how many people know that you could do that? How many people know that you could, if something goes wrong, you could pull that uterus to the side, fix what you need to fix, put the shit back in, go about your day? How many people know that? I bet it's only a handful, because that's probably only a handful of people been in that situation. You know, and people are asking, like, I've heard a couple of rumors already about nationals, about me being the judge. And it's like, I literally enveloped my entire life in dogs to get to that place. You know what I'm saying? I completely changed my entire life to, like, drown myself in dog to get to a place where I could not necessarily judge nationals, but be on that level to where I can, you know, I have the knowledge to be able to at least be in that conversation.
Well, it's a great honor.
But it's like,
it's a great honor to be
people don't
chosen
see that though. People don't see, you know, if you listen to the rumors, I was homeless, living in my car in your mom's driveway.
Oh my.
But people don't see, like, the work that's went into it. Like, you know, I changed basically the whole setting of my fucking life specifically to be a better dog person. You know what I mean?
Because of the intrigue.
I'm obsessed. Like, I can't. It's not even something I want to do. I'm fucking obsessed with it right now. Videos and pictures and shit. I'm fucking obsessed with it.
I still am after all these years. I love it. You know, I love to create.
Not the scooping shit part.
No,
I could do without. I could do without the. If you told me when I was graduating high school, hey, you're gonna spend 10 straight years scooping dog shit, I'd have told you were crazy.
Well, did you ever think you'd spend every day of your life inspecting it? But you do.
Fact. Oh
you
yeah,
look
fact.
Every time.
I need to know what the shit looks like. That'll tell you half about what's going on in your kennel.
Yeah.
You don't even need to see the dogs. Just look at the shit piles in the kennel. You can tell what's going on half the time.
It's a very important part of dogs. You have to look at that doo-doo.
But if you know, when you're picking out, I sat in my guidance counselor's office one day having this little conversation with him. His name's Vic Bontempo. I don't know if the motherfucker's even still alive yet. But Vic Bontempo gave me this little quiz to figure out what job I'd be good at.
Oh, really? What were you good at?
Not scooping shit. It had nothing to do with scooping poop for the rest of your life. I promise. That wasn't even an option. I think I was gonna be like a forest ranger or something. Which, I mean, that would be cool.
Kind of are a forest ranger.
I could do that. No, I wouldn't have no problem with that. But Vic did not tell me that I would be scooping poop. I'll tell you that. Son of a bitch.
Well, if somebody came to me right now and said, I want to be a dog breeder, do you know what I'd say? I'd say, go get you a good pair of Nikes and run. Forget that shit. Just forget it. Don't do it. Get you a nice dog. Be happy.
Honestly,
you might want a cat.
You know what you could do? Like, you could literally give people, like, a dude ranch. You know what I'm talking about? A dude ranch where people go to figure out what it's like to be a rancher?
Yeah.
Motherfuckers could come here and figure out what it's like to be a dog breeder. I promise
it's
you.
kind of like that.
You drive to this fucking kennel 365 days a year to scoop dog shit. You won't have to do it 365. 3 months.
Do you know? I have a lot of people come here. a lot of visitors. I should have a bed and breakfast probably,
Fact.
really. But you never know what you're going to get in on. You never know.
That's a fact.
You never know. I just had people. Well, it was Joel. When Joel came.
Oh, Joel Vargas. Shout out to Joel.
Vargas came to get his dog. And right in the middle of that, my dog goes, she's ready to have pups right now. Have to go right now. So, not only did I have extra help there, that was wonderful. Yeah, he got to see the puppies be born, got to be in on it, hands-on in it. That's really exciting for people who don't get that opportunity. A lot of people don't get that opportunity.
I'm telling you,
we're very, very fortunate.
We're about to start charging. I'm telling you, this is gonna be like the Dude Ranch for dog breeders. You want to figure out whether you can hang or not as a real deal dog breeder. 90 days.
Oh.
90 days. You give 90 days at the farm, and you'll know. I'm telling
you. It
you.
already sounds bad.
Well, even like right now, for me, I have right around 20 dogs.
Yeah.
If we include adolescent puppies and shit, right around 20. That is not even, doesn't hold a candle to a real operation. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't.
And it's hard work. I mean, there's days that we don't even eat lunch because we're hurrying. We have to get to this appointment, or we have to do this, or we need a dog shipped, or this one's got to be bred today. We've got to do cytology right now.
Just breeding dogs.
Yeah.
With this kind of operation.
We've got to get the kennels clean. It's going to be 110 degrees today, so we got to make sure everything's fresh water, cleaned up, make these dogs as comfortable as they can be. We don't need any chickens walking by when it's 120.
Yeah, don't mow the yard.
Please don't mow. We gotta cut Sue's mower off. She notoriously wants to mow around my kennel or weed whack when it's over 100. But do you think she could send me a text? No. That's impossible.
But I mean, just getting the dogs bred. Just one aspect. That's a whole fucking job. You have 10 females that are being bred. We're not talking about I'm not talking about a puppy mill, this and that. I'm talking about a real deal breeding operation. You have 10 females that need to be bred.
And you have to send semen. And
you have to ship semen.
Yeah.
You have to have C-sections. You have to have, Jesus Christ, ear crops. You have to have vet checks. You have to have, try having 4 litters at the same time and worming everybody.
If they're going overseas,
It's
you
a
have
whole
this
day.
whole time limit that everything has to be done.
Right.
We have to drive 2 hours to get the health stamp. That has to be within 72 hours of the flight taken off, which is another 2.5 hours. One way to the airport at 3 o'clock in the morning with the correct kennel. You know that you have to be back in town to buy before the store closes at 5 o'clock. Oh, and you got to make sure you get that little food tray because
Gotta have a food tray.
Doesn't come with them anymore.
Motherfucker's gonna be on a 6-hour flight. Gotta have a food tray.
Oh my god. Yeah.
You're gonna be away from people for approximately 45 minutes. Need a food tray.
Yeah, and then you have to socialize puppies, and you have to play with them, and you have to let the big dogs out, and they need to be worked with. You know.
That's where this.
It's constant.
That's where this
stuff.
shit gets overwhelming.
Yeah, it is. It's overwhelming. I have Nisa here to help me. Now she's been a blessing. I don't know what I'd do without her. I can't go back now. I know that.
Yeah, she's not allowed to leave now.
Spoiled, rotten. Yeah.
Yeah, not. But that's what I mean. Like if you spend, it wouldn't even probably take 90 days. It would probably take 30 days. You spend 30 days doing this shit every day, you'll know whether you can handle it for life. Because it's not like you don't get to say, all right, now it's my 2-week vacation. I get my 14 days off. No, you fucking don't. The dog's still got to eat. The shit's going to be piling up. 3 bitches are about to have litters.
The inspector's coming.
Kennel inspector's on their way.
Unannounced. Yeah, that's always lovely.
You don't get vacation days unless you have like a team. Something I've been talking about, especially since I got here. If you don't have a team that you can, like somebody you can say, all right, I trust this person. I know my shit's gonna be alive when I get home. You don't get to take vacation.
We're very lucky to have Caitlin. Caitlin's been,
Yeah, for sure.
she's been here since she was a little tiny girl, doing all this stuff. Aslan, Daryl, John, Abby, Mike. We're pretty lucky to have experienced people
For sure.
here, that we can call if we need to. But I can't imagine doing this if you don't have that.
No,
Yeah.
and I can't fucking remember who I was talking to, but I know people that literally, if they're going to go to a show, they have no one. So Friday, I mean, they'll, automatic feeders or whatever the fuck you do, but Friday night you leave the house, there's no dogs inside, so nobody's got to be let out. Somebody might stop by to make sure everybody's still breathing on Saturday. But then when you get home Sunday, that's the next time they're going to see somebody. That's got to be rough, especially like I'm about to be in Australia 5 days. If we didn't have people, trustworthy people to lean on a little bit, I wouldn't even be able to do that. 5 days would be out of the question.
Hey, that's something else. We were going to be reminiscing. Now we got on all these stories. But would you have a passport if it wasn't for dogs?
No.
I wouldn't either.
Absolutely not.
That's...
I didn't have a passport until you said, "Hey, let's go to England."
Yeah.
Seriously, until you told me you should come to England and apprentice under John and I at this Bulldog show, I didn't even... What the fuck do I need a passport for? Seriously. Why would I need a passport? And then we did that trip.
Yeah.
And I don't even I need to be somewhere once a month now, it feels like.
That was so much fun. We were there for 10 days, which that was really nice too, that we were able to spend 10 days so we could acclimate. We could see everything we wanted to see. Remember when you drank the prince's milk?
I still didn't get to see everything that I wanted to see.
Yeah,
But that's
we
because
saw
we
a
spent...
lot.
That's because I spent 5 days shit-faced drunk in Dave and Natalie's yard. But yeah, the Prince's milk from the Prince's dairy in the Prince's market
Yeah.
on royal grounds. That's a fact. From cows grown at the royal grounds. That's a fact. I have picture proof. So
We were able to sit at the round table where the Bulldogs started. That was really amazing to me. That was probably one of the highlights of my trip.
yo, that was like the
Spending time
best
with them.
night. That was up until that point, as far as dogs go.
Yeah.
It was like the best night ever. Listening to Leanne's vision on what she sees a bulldog as. Like, it's not something that I'll forget very easily, for sure, because
That was...
especially with you, Leanne, between you and Leanne, that was like 60 years of dog experience, and then Jane was another 15 or 20. So it was just like, I actually talked to Leanne last time I was in the UK. I was trying to set something up to where I could go see her. I just didn't get time.
I just heard from her today. It was awesome. Yeah, she's a neat lady. But, when we went to the castles, and then we were almost, you go back into that time period and you see so many things that it kind of clicks together around the time that the English Bulldog was developed. And it was such a crazy time in history. Do you remember those castles? And
Yeah, crazy.
all the weird stuff. And remember the things in the floor? And you could take your dogs to church and hook them on that.
Yeah.
They had a special section for the dogs at the church. Yeah, and it kind of made sense. And freaks were kind of, the English Bulldog was a freak then. And, it all kind of came together.
Can you imagine walking a dog like Maestro through 1600s?
No.
Or walking a dog like fucking Goldberg through the 1600s? They would
I'm
lose
pretty
their
sure
fucking
a king
mind.
would have really liked skids, I'm just sure. Sure of that. I'm sure. Yeah, I'd probably marry King. Had I been back there and I was in
They would lose
time.
they would lose their minds. They would not.
Well, actually, we probably wouldn't even have Frenchies if I would have been there at that
There would
time.
be no Frenchie.
That's what I like to think anyway. But Yeah, that trip was awesome, and oh my God, yeah, it made you kind of a monster. Now you're just going and going and going. It's awesome. How many countries have you been to?
Well, 11, but
All because of dogs.
the U.S. and Canada doesn't really count. Because I went to
11 countries.
I went to Canada on my own. Got
Mm-hmm.
only for the sole purpose of getting shit-faced drunk when I was too young to do it in the United States. A lot of my stories revolve around getting drunk. I'm not sure if that's a good thing or, but 8 countries because of dogs. Well, the England trip was the first one.
With the crazy Scottish people. I didn't know so much about
With the
kilts until that show.
You know what's even more crazy? That show that we went to, I still see probably half of the people that were at that show at ABKC shows when I go to the UK or Scotland. It's fucking insane. But that's what I was talking to Marlon Grennan earlier, and we were talking like sharing a common interest in anything, gun people, dog people, fucking football fanatics, that kind of shit it breaks down barriers, it crosses borders.
It does.
Doesn't matter what country you come from. You got a badass dog, I don't care where you came from. It crosses social boundaries, classes and shit. Dope boys in the same building as lawyers and doctors. I don't know. If I didn't start breeding dogs, I have no idea what I'd be doing right now.
I could still be wearing denim jumpers teaching. In Birkenstocks, probably.
Denim jumper.
I never cussed this much until I started.
Hey,
reading
rompers are in now. Get yourself a romper, you're in now. A little onesie.
Yeah, you need one of those.
But yeah, it's like, I don't know. I honestly have no idea what I'd be doing because when I started, I was working at a factory job, standing in one spot for 8 hours, contemplating slitting my wrist from the hand to the elbow, and then even after I started quote unquote breeding dogs, when I had a couple of dogs that were just pets that I bred, I never even considered this could be an avenue to find a career, which I don't think you can make a career out of breeding your pets. You have to step up to a different level for that, obviously, to make
think of all the titles you've had, though. You've gone from fancier, where you start.
Yeah, I just liked them.
Yeah.
To now I own a couple.
Then you were a buyer. Then you were a handler. Then you were a student. You're always a student. And then
I was like
you apprenticed.
A fancier, and then a buyer, and then a hobby breeder. Well, legitimate, this is my hobby. I'm going to have puppies, and I hope my friends have all badass dogs. Mm-hmm. And then a handler. I don't know if you'd even call it a handler, but I took my own dogs to show. Mm-hmm. And I was fucking terrible at it. I was terrible at it. I like to straddle the dog, and I like to pull the front end as wide as I can to where he just looks like he is going to fall over at any second because he has no balance. That was my signature move. Here, let me get the nice little Michelin stack going for you guys. But yeah, I mean,
photographer.
See, and I think that all leads into, where you start with anything inevitably leads into, what you want to do. Mm-hmm. Maybe you don't want to be a professional dog breeder, but in order to have a successful kennel now, you have to be able to market, take pictures, You have to be a vet tech on your own. You know, having to do all those things maybe pushes you into a direction where, like, oh, I really love photography. I'm shooting dogs for a couple of years, and then I move into something else where now I can make money at it. How many times have you seen that? You know, people come in, they have to learn a skill to be successful at breeding or, you know, having a kennel. And then that skill carries over to an actual career, some sort of money, you know, a living.
I love the photography part of the dogs. I love that. I love to just sit outside and watch the dogs and stay out. You have to stay out there for a long time so they forget you're there. Big lens, watching the dogs. I still get so excited about a great shot. Still.
Fact.
Like, super excited.
Fact.
I wonder if that'll ever go away. I doubt it.
I hope not. I just did a shoot for Timbo when I was in New York a couple weeks ago.
I saw some of those. Those are good.
You know, that's not even really my style of dogs, the exotic stuff. That's not even really my forte or taste. But even then, when we got that shot,
oh yeah,
we both are dancing around this park
That is
like
so
we just
exciting.
had some sort of, we got a lottery ticket, you know, and it's just a picture.
I know, but that is a good charge. You need those things, you know. You need those little rushes, you know. Think about when you have a puppy that you hoped would happen, and then it's born.
Fact.
And then it scares the shit out of you. Then it's so cool, you're scared.
Yeah, I don't even want to crop him.
Yeah, I don't even want to do anything because, you know,
if this fucker,
he's so nice.
Yeah.
I'm not even going to like him that much because...
Or even the other side of that where, you know, you have... You look down the litter and you're like, man, I don't want nothing out of this. Like, I don't know what is going on right now, but we need to take... Can we put these back in there? Is there any way these could go back in there?
Mm-hmm.
I think I'm running out of battery.
Yeah, we should wrap this up.
It's only been 2 hours.
Oh my God, people are still listening to it?
2 hours and 7 minutes now.
Oh my.
Well, they had to listen to 30 minutes of...
We're not even to the airport yet.
No. They had to listen to 30 minutes of buzzing freezer. So
yeah, sorry,
an extra 30 minutes. Yeah, you got an extra 30 minutes just because we felt bad.
The hum.
But anyway... thank you for being on the podcast. We're going to talk... I actually have a couple of things that we were talking about today that I want to do full episodes on. Fading puppy.
Yeah.
And which, you know, we could talk about all the what they call fading puppies. Brucellosis. There's no... I mean, people don't have any information on brucellosis. Tyler Wilson and I did a episode on Pyometra and Parvo.
Really?
And we were going to talk about brucellosis then too, but we already did like an hour and 20 minutes. And brucellosis, I want to do a whole episode because...
That's a good idea.
People lose their whole yard from brucellosis.
Yeah.
If you get that shit, it could shut your whole operation down. Something we need to touch on for sure. Creating a line from one dog doesn't exist. That's doesn't exist. There is no such thing as if you bought your first dog and it's named Jack, there's no such thing as Jack line. That doesn't exist. Anyway, we're gonna do a whole episode on that because it drives me crazy.
Yeah. We didn't even get to my notes. Look, I made notes and everything.
Yeah, actually, I have notes written down. She has notes written down. We didn't get to any of the notes.
You know, I'm gonna quit with this one because we started with throwing the baby out with the bathwater.
Do it.
I'm gonna end with this one. This is for breeders. You know, if you're going through a minefield, you always want to follow someone. And that was gonna lead into my mentors, how important they are.
The second mouse gets the cheese, people.
And how important it is to have somebody that you can, you know,
no, but that
really talk to about these things.
That is a good point, though, because this shit is like it's like walking through a minefield. There's so many things that can happen. If you don't have somebody to guide you through that minefield, you're fucking gonna blow up. No doubt about it.
Yeah.
If you're walking through a minefield, make sure you have somebody to follow, people.
And don't throw the baby out with the bathwater.
Don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. Okay, as always, Bull-NA-ChinaShop Shop podcast brought to you by Bull-NA-ChinaShop.com. Bull-NA-ChinaShop.com is the home of Bull-NA-ChinaShop Shop podcast and Bull-NA-ChinaShop Shop TV. Every and any episode of the Bull-NA-ChinaShop Shop podcast is on the blog page of Bull-NA-ChinaShop.com. The newest episode will be at the top. If you scroll down, the older episodes are down the page. The further you go down, the further you go back in the catalog. If you want to watch videos, stay right on the home page. All the videos for the Bull-NA-ChinaShop Shop TV YouTube channel are on the home page. All the social media links are also on the home page. Bull-NA-ChinaShop.com on Facebook. The Bull-NA-ChinaShop Shop podcast Instagram page. The Bull-NA-ChinaShop Shop TV or Bull-NA-ChinaShop Shop Twitter page. Snapchat, Bull-NA-ChinaShop Shop. Everything, even my personal Facebooks, Ty Lumley, my personal Instagram, Ty_Lumley. It's all on the homepage. If you haven't yet, get your ass to Bull-NA-ChinaShop.com, home of the Bull-NA-ChinaShop Shop podcast, the first and only podcast dedicated to the bull breeds and the American bully lifestyle. We're also brought to you by the Bully Embassy. The Bully Embassy is an elite group of breeders, owners, handlers, and judges from around the world. One of the most sought after groups in the bull breed community. You can find the Bully Embassy at your next event. Just look for the Bully Embassy tent or visit the Bully Embassy on Facebook or www.thebullyembassy.com. Oh, I have upcoming events also. Coming up August 7th, Bahamas, Nassau. Get your ass down there. Paradise, a little dog show in Paradise. See what's after August. September 9th, World Cup in Atlanta, hosted by True Phase and Atlanta Kennel. It will be one of the biggest events in the U.S. this year, next to Nationals. I promise you. The venue is attached right to the airport. You don't even need a rental car. Just get a shuttle. The venue is right there. The hotel has a restaurant, bar right attached to the venue. You don't have to worry about anything. Also, September 10th, Sydney, Australia. The first time Bull-NA-ChinaShop will be in Australia. The first time I will be emceeing anything. I'm excited as fuck about that. September 10th. September 9th, we are going to be doing the first ever Bull-NA-ChinaShop meet and greet with a Q&A in Australia. I will be podcasting also. I'll make sure that everybody gets to hear the crazy, exciting shit going on in Australia. After that,
September 16th, the Team Positive Barbecue.
September 16th.
I believe it's the 16th.
Team Positive Barbecue right here in Kansas. Wichita again? Topeka, Kansas. September 16th. If you're in Kansas, Oklahoma, Missouri, Arkansas,
it's a fun
there's
day.
No reason you shouldn't be there. It's all about pushing the breeds in a positive way. It's all the last one, they had the local media coverage, local news was there. Nothing but positive stuff coming for the breeds out of this kind of stuff. Hope everybody can make it. September, October, I have nothing for October. Show hosts, I have nothing for October. You let me know. I'm open for event coverage. November 11th, Chicago, Nationals.
That's not that far away.
Your boy's judging. The week after Nationals, I turned 34. So I don't know what that means. If that's a special day to anybody, we'll celebrate. November 11th, Navy Pier, Chicago, Nationals. ABKC's biggest event. Your boy's judging. I could not be more excited. Kind of makes me want to cry. I'm so excited. So we got August, Bahamas. September, ATL in Australia. Also Team Positive here in Kansas. November, Nationals in Chicago. Okay, that's it. That's it for me. 2 hours and 15 minutes. Anybody still fucking with me right now is a beast. Like, you guys are true monsters as far as the podcast goes. The dog noise, I'm not apologizing for. The freezer that was humming in your ear and my ear for about 25 minutes, I apologize for that. You'll be fine. You'll get over it. We're funny enough. You'll get past it. As always, I appreciate you guys listening to the show. The support lately and the feedback has been absolutely overwhelming. I cannot respond to everybody that's messaging me. I'm going to answer your questions. I promise. I've gotten everybody's questions written down. Episode 60. You got to wait 10 weeks. I don't know what you want me to do. You got to wait 10 weeks. Anyway, I'll see you motherfuckers next week. I love your faces.
www